Dear students, today I am going to discuss about freshwater habitats. Freshwater environment is two types, lentic and lotic. Lentic standing water of lakes and ponds, and lotic is running water of streams and rivers. Study of freshwater environment in physical, chemical, geological and biological point of view going to form a branch of ecology called limnology. Today in this lecture you are going to study the lentic ecosystem, that is the standing water ecosystems of lakes and ponds, their zonation, limiting factors, biota and their adaptations. So what decides freshwater is mainly the salinity. Freshwater, where you see the salinity or salt content is less than 0.1%. So as I said earlier, the freshwater environment, you will find two types of habitats. Lentic ecosystem includes all standing water bodies like lakes, ponds, swamps and bogs. The term lotic ecosystem is given to the flowing water bodies, that includes all flowing waters like rivers, springs, creek, etc. What are the limiting factors in freshwater environment? So limiting factors are these factors which restrict or which limit the distribution and abundance of organisms present in it. The number one is temperature. Temperature fluctuate diurnally, day and night, and seasonally, which is going to affect the distribution and the physiology of the organisms present in the aquatic environment. But water is the thermal properties of water is not allowing or it minimize the temperature changes what you can see in the terrestrial environment. And another limiting factor that affect the distribution of organism is current of water. The current direction is a very important limiting factor. That mainly it determines the distribution of vital gases, respiratory gases, the oxygen, dissolved oxygen and the carbon dioxide, salts, dissolved salts and the small organisms, the osmotic ability of the small organisms, all these are decided by the limiting factor, the water current. So another major limiting factor is the sunlight. Penetration of sunlight, it is depends on the suspended particles present in the water, the silt accumulation, algal development, the water will become turbid. So sunlight cannot reach the bottom of the water. So productivity of life forms directly depend on the transparency of the water. So here in this picture you may see that there is a green mat like covering, that is due to the algal development or algal bloom, which makes a cover, and this is what you can see, it is not allowing the sunlight to penetrate deep into the water, and it is affecting the aquatic organisms present in this pond or else the lake. So the another limiting factor, as I said, respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide concentration. Oxygen concentration, it is very important because when the as you see in the previous slide, if this amount of algae going to develop in the pond, so it is soon this algae will it is going to decay in the water, and for the decomposition of this organic matter, lot of oxygen is utilized by the bacteria and fungi, they are called decomposers. So it is creating a condition called biological oxygen demand, and thereby the oxygen, dissolved oxygen level will be reduced for the organisms. So that's why it is a very important factor. Then the concentration of biogenic salts. The salts such as nitrates and phosphate dissolved in the fresh water, it also affect the organisms. Too much of nitrates and phosphates, it is leading to the development of more algae in the, that is increases the productivity, thereby it is the water will become turbid. The algae going to form a layer on, as you see earlier slide. So this is what you can see, it is a limiting factor, it affect the abundance and distribution of organisms in the aquatic ecosystem. Likewise, you can see the calcium and other salts also very important limiting factor. So depending on the nutrient content, aquatic environment is the classified into the three types. So that is mainly the lakes. So it is very important to what is the difference between ponds and lakes. I'll coming to that later. So here just the three types of lakes you will find: oligotrophic lakes, eutrophic lakes and dystrophic lakes. You may see in this, this is the oligotrophic lake, very crystal clear water, that means very less nutrients, and the sunlight penetrate to the deep into the water up to the bottom. So this is a eutrophic lake where you can see rich nutrients, nitrates, phosphates mainly, they are promoting the development of the algae, and sunlight is affected here, it is not reaching the bottom. Then this is dystrophic lake, a humic lake where large amount of the organic acids, that is sediments, that is leading to the lake is going to convert into the bogs, and slowly you will find this lake going to disappear into the or else it is ecological succession into the shrub forest or else grassland. So as I said earlier, the oligotrophic lakes where you can see the low nutrients and low net primary production, very clear water as you see in the previous slide. Eutrophic lakes, high nutrients and high net primary production, so water will be murky and high turbidity. Then you may see in this picture, so the lot of the the factory effluents and the human activity and all these adding the nutrients to the water, and thereby this is the input of excess nutrients or fertilizers causing excess algal growth, and the eutrophic lake will become dystrophic lake, and it is ecological succession leading to the it is going to convert into bogs. So now coming to the what is the difference between ponds and lakes, I have shown here clearly. So this sunlight penetrate up to the bottom, so it's a small water body, these are ponds, and lake is a large water body where you can see the sunlight is not reaching the bottom, the sunlight is reaching up to this level. This is called the light compensation level. Beyond this you will find the darkness, total darkness, where there is producers are absent. So here we have a nearby lake is the Shantisagar lake near the Changiri. So that is a very large water body, and rest of the water bodies what we see around Shimoga is only small ponds. So this is the difference between the ponds and the lakes. We have very popular lakes in India, Dal Lake in Kashmir and Chilka Lake in Odisha, and Kokkarebellur near Mysore, and you might have heard some lakes in Bangalore, that is Madiwala lakes, Alsur lakes and all. They are all large water bodies. Coming to the zonation of lentic ecosystem. The lentic ecosystem is the zonation what you see in the ponds and the lakes. Here there are mainly the ponds and lakes, they have 3 zones. So that is what I have shown here. This is the littoral zone near the bank of the pond and water. So it is the littoral zone. Then open water, this is called limnetic zone. Then you will find there is a profundal zone. This you will find only in the case of lakes, not in the ponds, because the sun ray going to penetrate only up to the light compensation level. So beyond this, this is a total darkness where you can see producers are absent. This you will find only in the large water bodies like in the case of lakes, not in the case of ponds. These are the 3 important zones you will find. So now let us concentrate on biota or else organisms present at these different zones. So here in the first we will take up the littoral zone near bank region, or the near the shore area of the lakes and the ponds. So what are the producers? Producers are macrophytes. They are the rooted emergent plants, rooted submerged plant, floating rooted plants. Then microphytes are the microscopic plants such as algae, phytoplanktons. Then consumers are varieties of consumers you will find here in the aquatic ecosystem. They are classified into zooplanktons. They are microscopic animals. Nectons, actively swimming animals. Periphytons, attached to the plants. Then neustons, and decomposers are fungi and bacteria. So biota of littoral zones near the shore region, you will find all these are rooted emergent plants. You can see the Sagittaria, then Nymphea, then all these are rooted emergent plants. Near the shore you will find varieties of these macrophytes. Again the example, rooted floating plants, they are Pistia and Acornia. Then the rooted emergent plants near the shore is the Sagittaria. Then you will find all over the ponds so many times you can see the Nilambu plants. They are lotus plants. Then rooted submerged plants, these are Vallisneria and Hydrilla. Then planktons, as I said, they are microphytes, microscopic phytoplanktons, algae, diatoms you will find. And you can see similarly the zooplanktons, together they are called, the planktons are the microscopic floating organisms. They cannot they cannot swim. Their movement mainly brought by the water current. They are microscopic. Phytoplanktons are the algae and euglena like protozoa. These are phytoplanktons. Zooplanktons are the rotifers, copepods, cladocera. So these are zooplanktons or the consumers. They are microscopic arthropods. You will find Daphnia, Cyclops, and varieties of rotifers you will find here, and varieties of Cladocera. It's a large group of arthropoda. They are microscopic and they are going to form the zooplanktons. Similarly, there is a copepods, large groups of the cyclops. They are going to form the zooplanktons in the aquatic environment. Then what are nectons? Actively swimming forms in the aquatic environment. Nectons are fishes, aquatic insects, water beetles, amphibians, turtles, water snakes, tadpoles of frogs, and tilapia. All these are nectons. Then another class of consumers, what you see, periphytons. Periphytons, as I shown here, they are attached to the plants in near the shore region or else submerged plants. So these are called periphytons. Both plants and animals are periphytons. So what you can see, they clinging to the stem and leaves of rooted plants or projected surface. These are called periphytons. They are sessile algae, fungi, protozoa, hydra, crustacea, microcrustacea, rotifers, snails. All these come under this category. They are attached to the stems and the leaves of the water plants. These are the class Neuston. They are on the water surface, the water and air surface. You can see they are mainly insects, mosquito larvae, some bacteria, and some algae belong to this. These are the water beetle, what you can see just on the surface of the water. Then producers in the limnetic zone. Limnetic zone you will see in this open water zone. Here you won't see the rooted emergent plants. You may see rooted floating plants like Pistia. Then the phytoplanktons, they are going to form the producers. Consumers are mainly zooplanktons and nectons. Here we have discussed already what are zooplanktons and nectons. Nectons are actively moving animals. Then biota in the profundal zone, or else in the this you will find only in the case of lakes, where you can see it is total darkness, light is not going to penetrate here. So producers are completely absent, there is no producers. Consumers, what you see, benthos, bottom living organisms, bottom living animals. Then micro consumers. So this area is dominated by decomposition activity. All the dead animals going to sink into the bottom. So it is rich in decomposition activity. Lot of fungi and bacteria you will find in the sediments. So these are the benthos, the animals living in the living at the bottom of the water bodies. You can see they further divided into filter feeders. They filter the water and for the organic matter, and they are deposit feeders or sediment feeders. So this is about the freshwater environment. It is about the lentic habitat. What are the questions you expect in the examinations? Limiting factors in lentic habitat, zonation, biota and their adaptations. Thank you.